Hello, and welcome to the Pride Lands of Lioness Ink Insight, a den for honest conversations about creativity, identity, the beautifully chaotic experience of being human, and the occasional feral moment, because sometimes that's the most truthful part. I'm your host, Angelia N. Bailey, author, graphic designer, mom, emotional gremlin with a purpose, and someone who has a lot of thoughts about, well, everything. Thanks for stepping into the den with me. Grab a drink, get comfortable, and welcome to the Pride.
Fuck being a princess, I'd rather be a witch. Trade that throne for a flame and a twitch. You got roots, I got roots. You wear flats, I wear boots. Fuck being a princess.
Who listening loves art? Paintings, to be more specific. Well, today we're talking all about art, not as a product, but as a living, breathing connection between people. Today's conversation is one I've been really looking forward to. I'm sitting down with visual artist and painter Michael Sexton, owner of Michael Sexton Fine Arts, whose work exposes texture, color, and the quiet emotional resonance that happens when art meets the viewer. You can find his work at Michael Sexton, which is Michael, MichaelSXTN.com. And it's worth taking a look. I featured some works he chose to highlight in the written portion of this episode on my Substack. What drew me to Michael's work isn't the visual beauty, it's the way his art feels. There's something grounding about it that asks you to slow down and be present. I first met Mr. Sexton at the Wizard Fest in Ironton, Ohio. Out of all the pieces he had painted that were very wizard themed for the event, the one featured in my Substack that I purchased from him is the one that resonated most with me. There's a subtle yet beautiful beauty to, or powerful beauty to it. So today we're talking about why art comforts us, how it transcends time, and how the interaction between artist and viewer becomes a kind of shared magic. Like most of the episodes here on Lioness Ink Insight, this isn't an interview. It's a real open and honest discussion between the artist and the viewer. Before we dive in, Michael, do you want to say hi to the listeners and tell them anything else about yourself or your work, and also who you are in your personal life outside being an artist?
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael. I've been painting for a very long time. Since I was a young child, I pretty much grew up with either a crayon or a paintbrush in my hand. But I taught public school for a while, and the biggest part of my life is my family. My wife and my three kids. My wife is my best friend, Bianca, and my three kids they're young adults now, but they all encourage me, and it seems like my life art has become my life, but my life is art also. So I'm all the time drawing or painting, one or the other. But it's something I love to do, and I love to be expressive and creative with my hands. So.
Absolutely. I understand that totally. I got into painting myself a little bit. I'm definitely not as good as you, but it is a double in. Can you tell me, so one thing my listeners might not know, as I am still very new in podcasting, is that with my guests, I like to let them decide the topic they want to discuss. So Michael chose this topic today, and I was wondering, Michael, if you could tell me a little bit about what made you want to have this conversation.
I think that in today's world, I mean, it seems like every day you hear something new about AI, and everybody uses it for to simplify their life, whether it be for papers or for research. And you see a lot of people using it to be artistic. And in reality, a lot of the AI art it basically seeks out existing art, which is other people's work, and it kind of uses it as a database, I think, to make art and as a visual medium. But you know, I think that you lose the human connection with that. I mean, I know that it's a good tool and I'm not trying to, for people who use it, I'm not trying to shame anybody. It's just that you know there's something to be said for something made with your hands. and that could be gone one day. I mean, artists, I think art will always be here, and there'll be always people wanting to make art, but it's especially if you're trying to make a living at it, which I do. Um, Quite a bit of my work is for a living. Um, it makes it tough, you know. So I think it's important to have a conversation about the human element of art and how we connect with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And one of the things that you've spoken about is visual art having a comforting element because of how naturally it's made. Can you talk more about what natural means to you in your process?
Well, this might surprise you, but it's not just the natural um, material itself, the paint or the clay or even the ink that you write stories with, or poetry, or as an artist. I think it's allowing yourself to make mistakes. When you're a kid, you scribble and draw, and some people will discourage a child. Oh, you're out of the lines, or your colors are wrong, or you know, that's out of proportion, or whatever. But I think that you know getting in touch with the natural element is more so about being comfortable with who you are, and accepting the mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes, and when you make them, how can you learn from them? Because sometimes you would never get to the final, the end product that you really do enjoy without making those mistakes. So are they really mistakes at all? Or they could just be a step in the process.
Absolutely. So does the physical act of painting feel grounding to you?
Yes, it does. I'm very much a visual person, but I'm a very tactile person as well. I like to touch the surfaces. I like when the first time I saw a Van Gogh in person, it was in Cincinnati. There's a painting there that might still be hanging there. It's a couple walking in a forest, and the paint was so thick that you feel like you were there. You could see the leaves and the texture of the trees, the bark, and the grass and everything. It just transports you. You feel like you're back in 1890 something. So I think that um, yeah, it's very grounding for me, to be involved in the moment of painting. The process itself is sometimes more important than the final product.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Do you think viewers sense the calm or tension present during creation? Like when you finish a product, do you think they can sense what it took to make it?
Maybe. I mean, I think some people connect with that on that level of the process. I do a lot of improvisation. I do have structure and analysis to some of my work, but I like to, kind of take chances, and try out different colors I wouldn't normally try. Or if sometimes I'll be using a palette knife, and it will scratch it a little bit too much and takes off too much of the color. But I'm like, well, let's try that. And I just keep doing it. So I try to sometimes take those little, I call them mistakes, but it's like Bob Ross used to say, happy accidents, or things happen, but it's like part of the discovery. It's fun to kind of like just make it up as you go. And I think that sometimes the painting starts to create itself that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know you also emphasize texture, color, and add line in your work. What do those elements allow you to communicate that words can't?
Well, maybe words can, but for me, it's hard for me it's as a teacher, you have to kind of learn how to structure and talk and use verbal communication. But I'm not the best at it. It's hard for me to come up with words, so it's easier for me. It's like second nature. I don't even think about it to use line and color. So it's a lot of it's become intuitive for me, just to just be in a sense of kind of a stream of consciousness of using the materials. So, like I mentioned before, being tactile, um, visually tactile as well as physically tactile, to be able to feel the surface, and and develop the colors and see how the colors react to each other. Does it present a certain mood? Um, Happy, sad, or whatever. But I just find enjoyment, and it's very pleasing to me to just be in the act of creation.
So I know you talked about being conscious about the materials you use. Are there moments where you trust the materials more than your conscious intention? Like when you go into painting, you had intended to paint something, but trust the materials to guide you more?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as I get older, well, I just turned 52 this past year, but
Wow.
it seems like the my paintings sometimes will have an objective, like if it's a commission, a portrait of somebody, of course, they're looking for a certain look, a certain, it might not have any much texture to it at all. It could just be, very smooth materials because they want a certain look. But when I'm painting for myself, because that's 90% of the time, it's just me creating because I want to create for what I want to do. And sometimes I'll start off painting something and all of a sudden something else will emerge. Like the painting that you have with that has like that skull image just kind of emerged over time. I didn't start off, I never thought about skulls at the start of the painting, but as the painting went, it started to develop more meaning. I mean, there's a jar there, and I was thinking about the jar being empty. What does that mean? I mean, it's not really empty because it has all these reflections. It has you can see through the jar, you can see the fabrics around it. So things aren't always what they seem, and you let yourself be open to that as you create and you throw materials on the surface. You'll start to see like it's kind of like looking at the clouds. You'll start to see a shape, and so I started to notice that one area of the canvas was like an eye socket. So it started to have like this skull type quality. So I just kind of pushed that and played with it until it kind of emerged.
Yeah, so kind of evolves as you work through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and even when with the painting I bought, like I had a very like emotional response to it. I saw it and I'm like, it's kind of like a perception because it's the glass jar, like almost a mason jar with the flowers on the outside. And I kind of perceived it as like that's your jar of life and it's not yet full and all the chaos on the outside surrounds the beauty that's close by that we don't always see.
Yeah, I think that's part of the beautiful process that I was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was that interaction between, the artist and the viewer. I mean, that is eternal, really, because that's always going to be there. You'll always be able to look at a painting and see something that the artist did, it, whether intentional or not. You're connecting with that moment of they were making it. So it's a very transcendent thing. It is.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. Have you ever been surprised by what viewers take away from a piece?
Yeah, because sometimes people will mention, "Oh, I like this. You put this image of a lady in there," and I didn't. It was basically, part of the abstract areas resembled that to them. So people
Yeah.
get things out of paintings that I don't expect. But that's great. I mean, that's what I like is that it's that open. It's open ended. It's like reading a good book, and you're constantly thinking back at the book. Oh, what happened? Or you think about that person's life. Did they have like other family? Or it's like you're trying to further the story. You're trying to like your brain is working overtime and trying to develop it into other possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've described like a kind of magic in the interaction between the artwork and the viewer. So what does that connection feel like to you when it happens live in the moment?
Um, it feels great. It really does. It if someone gets it, they look at it and they feel connected to it, and I feel like that. And I haven't had to say anything. I could just express just with the materials. Then you feel like you've achieved your goal. And sometimes that doesn't happen. I mean, I'll post something that I think that people will like this, not because of what the subject looks like, but because of something else I was trying to say with it, whether it be a hidden image or whatever. And and no one says anything. So it's like, well, I guess it just didn't land. So, sometimes it doesn't connect with anybody, but that's okay. I mean, that I had my reward is in the process, the painting itself. That's what I enjoy. So,
Absolutely. So how does the exchange between that you have like that affect your desire to keep creating?
I think it affects my desire to create more because if I feel that it has communicated that kind of poetic sense, that there is the poetry itself made it from my hands to the surface of the canvas, traveled in midair to someone's eyes, and they could understand it, and then they connected to it, and it means something to them. It could be that it comforts somebody or brings healing in a time of grief, or if I can make someone else feel good about themselves because they looked at my painting, that's that that's a big reward. And there have been a lot of works that I've done that were for that purpose of like remembering someone who's passed away, a portrait or something, and people tell me that they see it and they feel connected to it. And if I can bring healing to someone else to make them feel better with the loss and pain that they have, then I feel like that's a gift, and I want to continue to be able to do that. I mean, and to help that in their healing process. So it's something that I don't feel like I can't stop painting and making art. It's just something I feel like I was born to do. But if I can reach other people, that makes it all the more worthwhile, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar to why I'm an author and why I
Yeah.
have this entire Lioness Ink Insight brand is I want to help people. And if I can heal someone along the way, then it makes it every bit worth it. So
And it's
there's,
and it's therapeutic for you as well. I mean, you feel like
yeah,
it's a way to like, bring healing for yourself as well, because you're that creative process, you kind of step outside of time, and sometimes you lose track of time probably when you're writing. I know I do when I'm painting. I lose total track of time.
oh yeah,
Um,
always.
but that's a moment like like an opportunity moment where you can actually have a moment of growth, and like true creativity can like somehow just grow out of you, um, whether improvised or planned. I mean, it's all creative, really.
Do you think it grows to a point where the artwork stops belonging to you?
I think it does in some sense. I do feel a little bit of a loss when I have a painting in the studio for a while, and I kind of get used to having it, and I kind of like attached to it because it's like a part of me. But then when it's time to ship it off somewhere across the country or someone picks it up, it's a little sad because I don't want to see it go, and I feel like I kind of lost it in a way. But I guess it'll always be part of you, and then just knowing that part of your expression and your love is out there in the world, that kind of makes it a little bit easier to take, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same thing because I know there's gonna be a point when my book gets traditionally published and it's gonna evolve into something that's beyond what I intended to create, and it's gonna, in a way, stop belonging to me, but belong to the people it resonated with.
Yes, absolutely.
So you gave, when we were discussing about the topic you wanted to talk about today, you gave a beautiful example about hearing Robert Frost read his own poetry and how voice and texture transformed the experience for you. Why do you think the presence changes art so profoundly?
I think it changes it profoundly due to the proximity. I mean, when you see a painting in a book, it's like, oh, that's nice, the colors are pretty. But when you go to a museum, you see it in person. Now you're really close to it, and start to feel a connection with people. I mean, the same thing looking at old photographs. I love looking at old black and white photography, specifically the 1800s and so, and to see those faces and those emotions, and you feel like they're not so far away. It's like that was just a moment ago. So it I think it resonates in the sense of um, making you look at those textures and things a different way. I mean, because I think we get busy in life when we read through things, and we're always in a hurry, and we don't slow down a little bit to
Yeah,
appreciate, like with Robert Frost. I mean, I don't know if you've heard his voice, but he's got a beautiful speaking voice. And when you hear him recite his poetry, you're hearing the way he feels the words and the way that he wanted those words to be heard. And I never thought about that until I actually listened to his work. I'm like, that's the way because when I read a book, I mean, I visualize in my brain what the characters look like, what they're wearing. A lot of people probably do that. I love that part of it, that I can start visually in my mind thinking about the whole set like it's a movie or something in my brain. But I think that that connection is it's not essential to enjoy the art, but I think it just gives it a different dimension, and I think it makes you appreciate all art forms.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that sense of timelessness something you chase as an artist?
Yes, I do. It's like when you hear a good song and it's an old song, but it's just amazing. And other people might not like it. I mean, I love Tommy Dorsey and Frank Sinatra. I love Mozart. I mean, I love so many different types of things. And some people think it's boring or whatever, but to me, it has a timeless quality because it does speak to people across time and space.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And do you think knowing as far as like the timelessness and that sense and the transcendence of art, do you think knowing the artist matters, or is the work enough on its own?
I think that it's kind of a dual thing. I mean, I think it's good to know the artist. I think I mean, if you can know an artist personally and enjoy their work, that does give you a different appreciation for the work, whether if you've never seen them before and you just see a painting somewhere.
Yeah,
Because it's you feel more connected to them as a human being. So I don't think that that's totally necessary to enjoy the work, but I think it helps. And I think that uh, like I mentioned before about proximity, I think that being closer to something in a new way helps you to see it in a different way. Um, but I kind of lost my train of thought.
no, you're okay. No, I completely agree with you because I mean, in meeting an artist and just looking at their work online is two completely different things. Seeing where the art came from and where it was born from and the idea behind it and the person who envisioned it's a whole world of difference because you connect deeper with the art in that sense. So you described art as a portal, something that connects us beyond space and time. Do you think that's why art has survived every era of human history and still thrives today?
I do, and I think that no matter what form it takes technologically, that as long as there's the human element, that people can feel that connection with a human that made it, that it's going to be timeless. Now, um, sometimes you see things uh, like I go to antique shops a lot, and we see you see an old painting that's sitting there, and some guy made it. Who knows? And it does make you a little bit sad. You're thinking, well, what did they not want this painting, or why is it here? Why isn't it
Yeah,
being appreciated in a home somewhere? But you never. It could be an estate sale. It could just be there for one reason or another. But maybe it was there for me to see. I mean, you never know. So.
kind of
Uh,
falls back on this saying that I follow like tried and true is everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I think so. I think that there is a sense of providence to the world. I mean, and people call that different things, but I think that it's a type of it is a type of time travel because even if you step outside of time to relax a moment, like a lot of people go to the beach and they're basically stepping outside of time and space to do some self-healing, enjoy the view, and then time it kind of slows down for them. They're kind of out of the rat race, so to speak. But I think that's healthy for everybody. I think that that's one of the reasons why there will always be art, and art speaks to us to the ages. Is that we all can simply do that, just kind of tune out for a while and enjoy, visual art or reading a poem or um, spending time with your loved ones. I mean, and just spending a moment and teaching a child something, uh, whether it be how to build a puzzle or work with clay or whatever. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think I know the answer to this next question. But does creating feel like participating in something bigger than yourself?
absolutely, because I mean, there's so many artists in the world, and there's so much going on that we're all. To me, it's like we're a collective. I mean, anybody who's creative, whether they're a singer, I think they're all connected in that type of respect that they're trying to work outside of themselves, whether it be making music or writing a story like you do. That you're doing it for yourself, but you're also participating in something larger. You're part of a big play. Basically, it's a big stream of thought that is moving forward. Some people fight against that stream and they don't want to. They just want to stake their claim on the side of the bank of the river, so to speak, and and they want people just to notice them and what they do. And in some respects, I guess all artists want to be individualized, and there's nothing wrong with me wanting to be an individual. But I think that the main goal for all art is to love, to show love, and to teach love, and to create some sense of a passion in this world that's beyond ourself.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I absolutely agree with you. And I know when we talked, you mentioned that this connection that the viewers have nurtures the artist to create new work. How do you recognize when it's time to create something new again?
Well, I think that in some respect, like if I'm just working every day, creating and making sketches and things, it can become academic. But if you mean in the sense of it's time to create again something new, like a new a series of paintings or work, I guess that kind of comes when it comes. It's kind of an organic thing because there'll be sometimes months I'm not really setting out to do a series of paintings or uh, for a show like with the Wizard Fest. I did a series of paintings specifically for that. But lots of times it's just me sitting off my sketchbook and just brainstorming and just coming up with some. I feel like I'm always creating. But when the feeling comes, I need to actually set aside time to objectively create a series or a specific artwork. I can't explain how that happens. I think that that just kind of is a nudge that you feel during the creative process. It could just be when you're doodling. You'll have a spark. You'll have a thought of, hey, this, you just like you might think of characters. Just by meeting people or talking to people, they just kind of organically come to you and you take notes. So my sketchbook is like my notepad, I guess.
That little spark of inspiration that you're like, oh, I got to get this down.
Yeah, yeah. Um, there's an
So what,
interesting movie about Charles Dickens. It was on Hulu channel. I think it was called The Man Who Invented Christmas, and it was really interesting because the whole movie is really not about the story of the Christmas Carol. It is, but it's more so about his creative process, like him like getting inspiration with conversations. He was talking to an old man, and he heard the old man say "bah humbug," and so he perked up and was like, "I got to write that down." So I think
what gave,
things happen organically, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. That's how a lot of my work is named. Well, there's even a book that I wrote entirely, the entire story came from a dream I had. And I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. I need to write that down. I need to turn that into something.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
for you, what keeps the process sacred rather than performative?
I think it stays in a sense of sacred space because it it let me think for a second. That's a very deep question, but I think that it comes from a sense of wanting to connect with something outside myself. So it my work is, I don't know if it'll ever be quote unquote sacred, but it has a desire to be sacred, I think. Does that make sense? It's a type of reach, I guess. I mean, there's been philosophers write about this type of thing, so it's probably more than what we could talk about here in this time. Um, but
Have you ever gone through a time where you doubted or questioned if your art mattered or if anyone would see it?
I think in those times when you're not, particularly when my work is not selling, or when um, it's not, you feel like, is it good? Or because you see other people do work, and they get recognized for it, and it's not that you're jealous, but it's like, well, what's wrong with what I'm doing? Do I need to be more popular or whatever? And then you realize, no, it's not about that. It's more about the creative process that you are as an artist. I mean, you can't really compare yourself with Stephen King, or I'm sure you, or whoever. I mean, everybody has heroes, and I like Michelangelo. I like uh, William de Kooning. I like a lot of artists, but you can't really have a comparison game, um,
Yeah.
because that they. I think that if our work is to become sacred, it has to happen organically, and it has to kind of uh, maybe when it reaches the viewer in the way that you intend, but also helps you to grow to where you go beyond that storytelling. And it actually is like you were saying, like self-perpetuating. You start thinking of new work, and it could be that the new work would never have happened if you didn't do the one you just completed. So
No, I completely understand. You said that very well. If you could speak to the version of yourself who doubted whether your art mattered at one point or whether anyone would truly see it, what would you want that version of yourself to know now?
I would want that version of myself to know um, that you keep painting and keep drawing every day, and if it's just doodling, and people might never see this work, but it's going to reach somebody. Um, the painting of the still life that you got. I almost didn't put that in the show, because I thought, well, people are here to see Harry Potter stuff. They're here to see wizard
Mm.
type things, and so I need to have that out. No one's going to want to see this type, this other type of art,
And then I
but
came along and bought it.
yeah, see, you never know. So I would tell the younger version of myself, don't ever doubt your intuition. Just, that's art. Art is art, and people, you never know, that might reach somebody, and sure enough, it did. But um, I think that even the stuff we consider to be doodles or whatever, one day people are going to appreciate that too. So we have to keep creating, regardless if you have the instant gratification of being rewarded, or if your work doesn't seem popular, it doesn't matter. You just keep creating because that's what you are. You're a creator.
For someone listening who feels disconnected from their creativity or unsure if their voice still has a place in the world, what's one truth or piece of advice you'd offer them, or even to like an emerging artist or creator who's considering diving into that part of themselves?
I would tell them to really explore what kind of art speaks to them. Visit museums, get art books, look at read their stories, read about Monet and or about Matisse losing his vision, and read about the artists that we need to learn more about, like Mary Cassatt, because in her day women weren't as appreciated in arts as they are now, and that's starting to change. Women are being more appreciated in the arts, but in the 1800s, it was a different story. So try to not that I think everybody should become an academic and you got to go take classes now, but be a curious mind. I mean, try to figure out what kind of art speaks to you. Why do you like abstract art? Why do you like expressive art? Some people like realism. Why do you like realism? Why not just look at a photograph? Why 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 do you like realistic painting? Stuff like that. Figure out what you like, and then look at the artists that make it and learn their stories, and try to put yourself in their shoes, and maybe try some of the techniques for practice. Um, but I guess I'm always going to be a student in some sense, that I always feel like I'm learning something. And I think that's what the advice I would give is to always be open to learn, and don't ever feel like you know everything, because I learn something every day.
Right. Yeah. I think we all do, especially even as an author. Like I always learn something new every day, even when I think I have it all figured out and I'm on my final draft. The final draft ends up being the final draft. Well,
Yeah.
Michael, thank you so much for bringing such depth and thoughtfulness into this space. Is there any final thought you would like to leave listeners with today?
Um, I would like to quote Picasso said once that all children are artists. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up. I think that all kids are very creative and they are truly artists, but 9 times out of 10, adults they stop being artists because they're too worried about what it looks like, or they lose practice, or for whatever reason they lose sense of that creative edge. Even most people say, "Well, I can't draw a stick figure. I can't do this." Well, you don't have to be like everybody else. You can be expressive. You can show, maybe your work is all about texture. I mean, there's some beautiful abstract art out there that has no representation at all, but it's still beautiful. And it is something to reach for, a sense of that connection, and learning more about the types of art you like. So I would just say be curious and always try to be a child, and in that respect, it's good to have a childlike heart, and especially in being creative, because I think it makes you more open-minded towards what the possibilities could be.
Yeah, absolutely. My 15-year-old is actually really into art and being creative. He likes to create things, whether it's music or drawings. I always get him sketchbooks for Christmas and stuff. He's probably sick of it by now, but he's really, really good at art. And I really love that you touched on that because that's definitely something I think is important for younger artists too and younger creators to hear.
It's a struggle to stay an artist, I think, for most
Yeah.
adults. Some of us it's easier than others because we love it so much, and we feel that kind of that drive, which I feel a strong drive to create. Some days I get frustrated with whatever, but I'm like, I gotta go to the studio, I gotta go, and I gotta work on something. So it's a way to, maybe it's part therapy, maybe it's part exploration, or and whatever the case may be. It's something that drives you.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think that was very well said, very beautiful. Um, and if any listeners have questions and leave them in the comments, are you open to dropping in on the Substack and replying to their comments to answer their questions?
Sure. I will try to do that as soon as I can.
Yeah.
I don't have that pulled up right this second, but I could, because I don't have a desktop. This is for my telephone, so
Yeah, no, you're fine. And I would always let you know if anyone asks anything and send you over
yeah,
the link to make it easier.
yeah,
And can listeners even contact you directly through your website for your art?
or my email address that's fine if they want to email as well. So it'd be
Okay.
great.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about this. I am genuinely grateful for your honesty and your voice, and I'm honored to showcase your incredible work.
Well,
Your
thank you.
piece hangs up in my room. That is what I look at every day. I think conversations like this, though, remind us that art isn't about productivity or perfection. It's
Right.
about connection and being human together across time, distance, and experience.
I agree. Thank you so
And
much.
absolutely, you're welcome. And to everyone listening, if this episode resonated with you, I hope you let yourself linger with art a little longer today. Let it comfort you, let it speak to you. Go check out Michael, MichaelSexton.com. Find a piece that you can't help going back to or can't look away from. Take a minute to think about how it makes you feel and why. I'm going to leave you to think about that. Until next time, this is Lioness Ink Insight.
I'd rather be a witch. Spit that curse, make the heavens glitch. You want calm, I want storm. I crack bones just to be reborn.
That's all for today. Thank you again for stepping into the den with me. And listeners, don't forget, I want to hear from you. So drop a comment or hit my DMs with conversation topics you want to hear or even be a part of. Your voice is valuable too. Let's work together to bring humanity into conversations and talk about what it means to build something honest in a tough world. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the many conversations I can't wait to have with you. You can subscribe for free or support the show even further with a paid subscription that gives you immediate access to exclusive content and special extras. As always, whether you've already clawed your way out of the darkness in your life or are still trapped inside,
I'm here. Through Lioness Ink Insight, I'll sit with you and paint a star of light in it to keep you company. You're not alone anymore. You're a member of my pride now, and I'll be the loud, fierce centennial holding a quiet space of healing for you, an escape from the darkness as you find your way to the light. Thank you for tuning in and joining me in the Pride Lands of Lioness Ink Insight. Until next time, stay real, stay weird, stay fierce.